The story for most of Africa's history has largely been the same. A story of mass poverty in the midst of plenty and scarcity in the midst of abundance. This absurd and unjust reality has mainly been made possible by the many greedy and unpatriotic leaders Africa has been unlucky to have. With that being said, it must be noted that Africa has also been blessed with some upright and patriotic leaders who worked tirelessly to change the unjust reality of Africans. This video is about two current African leaders who appear to be following in the footsteps of great African leaders of the past. These two leaders appear determined to change the sad reality of their people and Africans as a whole. The two leaders I refer to are the current president of Mali, Colonel Assimi Goita, and the president of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore. These two young African leaders have only been in power for a short period of time, but have in that time made certain decisions that show a determination to assert the sovereignty of their countries, regain their independence, and also ensure self-reliance. To properly analyze the direction these two young African leaders have chosen and their motivation, this video is going to be divided into 4 parts. First, we are going to look at how both leaders have dealt with the very serious issue of insecurity in their respective countries. Then we will look at some notable economic policies they have implemented so far. The third chapter will focus on the men both leaders have chosen for the position of Prime Minister. Finally, we will look at their show of Pan-African solidarity and also their recognition of their great Pan-Africanist forebears. For many years now, both Mali and Burkina Faso have been dealing with armed groups who have been terrorizing their people and causing destabilization. In fact, governments in both countries are falling because of their inability to deal effectively with the problem of violence and insecurity. This is all despite years of having soldiers from France to help put an end to the grave problem of terrorism. After taking power in 2021, Colonel Assimi Goita sought to diversify Mali's security relationships by seeking a partnership with Russia. This was not well received by France. Here is the Prime Minister of Mali, Choguel Kokala Maiga, explaining what led to the departure of the French troops from Mali.
Vous savez, nous sommes venus de très loin. On a mis dans la tête des Africains, et je crois que le pays que vous avez cité a contribué, qu'on ne peut rien faire sans l'aide de la France. C'est ce qui a amené nos autorités, effectivement, en 2013, personne ne le nie, à demander l'intervention de la France au Mali en 2013. Mais 7 ans, 9 ans après, le terrorisme qui était confiné au nord s'est répandu à 80% du territoire. Donc vous avez un malade qui s'appelle Mali, un docteur qui s'appelle Communauté internationale, ou France si vous voulez, qui vient, il vous dit, je fais l'analyse, je fais une prescription pour 2 ans. Nous faisons 7 à 9 ans, la maladie gangrène gagne tout le corps. Soit le malade attend la mort, soit le malade se lève, il change de docteur, ou de posologie, ou de médicaments, ou de tout à la fois. Mais le docteur ne peut pas dire au malade, il faut continuer à vous asseoir jusqu'à mourir. Nous avons décidé de coopérer avec tous nos partenaires. Les Français ont dit non, c'est eux ou rien. Et ils ont décidé de partir. Nous ne les avons pas chassés, ils ont décidé de partir.
Despite the unprecedented pressure and threats by France and other Western countries, the government of Assimi Goita has forged ahead to establish a partnership based on mutual respect with Russia. According to the Malian Prime Minister, the partnership with Russia has been very beneficial in terms of improving the overall security situation. And also, it has allowed the Malian army to acquire planes, helicopters, drones, and other military equipment, something which they were not able to do before.
Mais cette situation est intervenue à la suite de notre coopération avec la Russie. Mais avant ça, nous ne pouvions pas acheter d'armes. Nous avons un pays très vaste, 1 241 000 km². Nous ne pouvons pas acheter d'avions, ni d'hélicoptères, ni de drones, rien. Aujourd'hui, on peut les acheter librement.
In reaction to Mali asserting its sovereignty by pursuing a partnership with Russia, the French foreign minister attacked the Malian government and claimed that they were out of control. The Malian government duly responded by expelling the ambassador of France in Mali. This decision was celebrated by thousands of Malians. Over in Burkina Faso, where there was also the same problem of insecurity, despite the presence of French soldiers for years, the government of Ibrahim Traore also chose to pursue new methods and partnerships in order to provide much-needed security for all Burkinabés. The new government decided to become the main actors in the recapturing of territory from the armed groups. In order to do this, Burkina Faso ordered French troops to pull out of the country. The Ibrahim Traore government has also worked to strengthen ties with Russia in order to enable Burkina Faso effectively deal with the serious problems of insecurity, and also beyond that to assist Burkina Faso set up a nuclear power plant to provide electricity for Burkinabés. The decision of Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traore and Mali's Assimi Goita to pursue mutually beneficial partnerships with Russia, despite the pressures and threats from the West, needs to be commended. The efforts of the two leaders to assert the sovereignty of their countries and not to be controlled by France or others is really great to see. Beyond the steps taken by both leaders to deal with the serious problem of insecurity in their countries, certain economic policies they have adopted also deserve to be highlighted. First is the decision by Mali's president, Assimi Goita, to increase Mali's ownership of its gold concessions. A new mining law will allow the Malian state to take stakes as high as 35% in mining projects, compared to 20% in the past. The government has said that this will enable Mali recoup major shortfalls in production revenues and could also more than double the sector's contribution to gross domestic product to about 20%. Mali is one of Africa's top gold producers, and the decision by the Assimi Goita government to ensure that the Malian people, through the state, have a greater share in the gold mines is certainly a step in the right direction. In Burkina Faso, the 35-year-old president, Ibrahim Traore, has made it clear that terrorism is not only fought with weapons, but also with development.
Parce que cette lutte que nous avons aujourd'hui contre le terrorisme ne se fait pas uniquement par les armes, mais également par le développement. Tant que la jeunesse n'aura pas d'emploi, elle sera toujours tentée d'aller vers là où c'est facile d'avoir de l'argent. Et c'est ça aussi qu'il faut combattre.
And so to achieve this, one of the steps his government is taking is to create a company that will employ young Burkinabés to mine gold in a more modernized and respectable way.
C'est dans ce sens que lorsque nous prenons par exemple le volet de l'orpaillage, votre thème en dit long sur l'employabilité des jeunes en milieu rural, beaucoup de nos jeunes se retrouvent aujourd'hui sur les sites artisanaux de production, dans des conditions les plus pénibles. C'est peut-être ce qui s'est passé en Europe ou en Amérique dans les années 1800, lorsque les hommes rentrent eux-mêmes dans des galeries, qu'ils creusent eux-mêmes pour sortir le minerai. Nos jeunes continuent de vivre cela, au péril de leur vie. Nous essayons aujourd'hui de moderniser un peu. C'est à l'issue de ça que nous avons créé donc la SONASP, une société qui va se permettre de pouvoir exploiter et de commercialiser nos substances précieuses, notamment l'or. L'or que les jeunes exploitent, que d'autres personnes viennent acheter à vil prix et qui contribuent à nourrir le terrorisme qui sort du pays sans que nous n'ayons aucun contrôle. Nous avons décidé de créer cette société pour essayer de reprendre le contrôle de nos sites miniers et pouvoir permettre aux jeunes qui y sont de produire de façon plus mécanisée et plus respectable.
Also, in order to promote local production and industrialization, the Ibrahim Traore government has set up the Agency for the Promotion of Communal Entrepreneurship. The idea being to have Burkinabés invest directly in the building of factories and other projects to ensure the economic sovereignty of Burkina Faso. After taking power, both Assimi Goita and Ibrahim Traore appointed men who are Pan-Africanists as their prime ministers. In Mali, Choguel Kokala Maïga was appointed as prime minister, and in Burkina Faso, the position of prime minister is held by a man who is known to be a Sankarist, Joachim Tchelem de Tambela. Mali's prime minister, Choguel Maïga, has been in the forefront of the nationalistic and Pan-Africanist policies of the government. Famously, he told the French, "We cannot be turned into vassals." You cannot enslave the country. That is over, making it clear that Mali is fully asserting its sovereignty and will no longer be dominated by France. The Burkina Prime Minister Tchelem Ditambela, on the other hand, has famously declared that Burkina Faso cannot be developed outside the line drawn by Thomas Sankara. Shortly after his appointment, one of Prime Minister Tchelem Ditambela's first actions was to call for a lowering of the president and various ministers' salaries. While former President Paul-Henri Damiba increased his salary and those of his ministers during his short term in office, the current president, Ibrahim Traore, has opted out of any presidential salary. Instead, Traore has decided to keep the same salary he had as a military captain in order to show the spirit of sacrifice which must inhabit every Burkinabe in the current situation of their country. During the month of November 2022, the ministers gave out 50% of their salaries to the National Solidarity Fund, which goes to help disadvantaged Burkinabes, especially internally displaced people. Tchelem Ditambela has also led Burkina Faso's efforts to create new mutually beneficial partnerships with other independent states like Iran, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. For the governments of Burkina Faso and Mali, who were facing the same problem of insecurity due to the presence of terrorists in their countries, the idea of joining forces was always a common sense one. The Prime Minister of Burkina Faso, Tchelem Ditambela, in a meeting with the President of Mali, Assimi Goita, and other Malian authorities, expressed his people's desire for an African federation. He stated, "We are considering a federation today. This is our short or medium-term objective. We need everyone's support in this sense because as long as we remain isolated, we are fragile." The Mali-Burkina Faso Federation will constitute a much more decisive striking power. Thankfully, both governments have recognized the necessity of uniting, and a communique has been signed by the prime ministers of both countries for the creation of a Mali-Burkina Faso Federation.
Il faut que les gens comprennent qu'un rang dispersé, ça sera difficile. On va se battre, mais il faut que l'Afrique arrive à s'unir. Et plus on s'unit, plus on est efficace. Nous sommes en train d'évaluer actuellement beaucoup de choses avec le Mali, surtout sur le domaine économique. Sur le côté défense, déjà, on a des accords, hein, ça c'est déjà scellé. Les Maliens viennent chez nous, c'est la même armée. On fait tout ensemble, on s'entraîne ensemble, on combat ensemble. Terrestre, aérien, tout se passe bien. Et voilà, donc le volet économique aussi, on est en train de réfléchir. On a beaucoup de flux d'échanges commerciaux. Comment renforcer, voilà, il y a beaucoup de paramètres à prendre en compte. Et voilà, on n'exclut pas qu'un autre État vienne fédérer avec nous. Hein. Donc le processus est en cours. Voilà, et plus tôt ça va venir, mieux c'est. Donc s'il y a d'autres États qui sont intéressés, c'est sûr qu'on va aller vers la Guinée. Et s'il y a d'autres États intéressés, qu'on puisse s'unir. C'est ce que la jeunesse demande.
Indeed, with the turn of events in Niger, we now have an expansion of this Pan-African Union to what is now known as the Alliance of Sahel States, an alliance between Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger with the objective of establishing an architecture of collective defense and mutual assistance for the benefit of their populations. The charter establishing the alliance binds the three signatories to assist one another, including militarily, in the event of an attack on any one of them. The charter states that any attack on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of one or more contracting parties shall be considered as an aggression against other parties and shall give rise to a duty of assistance, including the use of armed force to ensure and restore security. Even before this alliance was formed, the governments of Burkina Faso and Mali stood in solidarity with the people of Niger, first to defend them against the threats of invasion by ECOWAS, and then by supplying them with much needed food when ECOWAS imposed illegal and inhumane sanctions on Niger. The president of Mali, Assimi Goita, has paid tribute to the Pan-Africanist first president of Mali, Modibo Keita, by going to place a wreath on his grave. Also, Colonel Assimi Goita has paid tribute to Pan-Africanist leaders Kwame Nkrumah, Ahmed Sékou Touré, Mohamed V, and Modibo Keita, and also highlighted the precious legacy they left for Africa. The government of Ibrahim Traore, on the other hand, has elevated the former president and the father of the Burkina Revolution, Thomas Sankara, to the rank of national hero. According to the government, the consecration of the status of hero of the nation to Thomas Sankara aims to perpetuate the cardinal values on which the republic is founded. The deep respect shown by Colonel Assimi Goita and Captain Ibrahim Traore for their great Pan-Africanist forebears is significant because it shows that they are inspired by truly great leaders who sacrificed their lives for Africa. In ending, I hope that I have provided a fair perspective on the ideas and motivations guiding both Colonel Assimi Goita of Mali and Captain Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. Their courageous handling of the colonial attitude of France and their determination to seek mutually beneficial and non-exploitative partnerships with Russia and others prove that they are committed to advancing the best interests of their people. Their choices of prime ministers is just further proof, and their policies aimed at ensuring economic sovereignty make it clear that a better future is possible in Africa. As the case has always been, whenever there have been leaders who act in the interest of their people, there are always attempts to eliminate them. Already, there has been an assassination attempt on Assimi Goita, and there has also been an attempted coup in Burkina Faso. But as the great Che Guevara always used to say, homeland or death, we shall win.
Un combat patriotique pour l'avenir radieux de notre pays. La patrie ou la mort, nous vaincrons.
La patrie ou la mort, nous vaincrons.
Please do support us by liking this video and sharing it to others. And please do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching.